Alright. The name is Dale, doing the movie reviews for Creed 2 and Green Book. These reviews are done on behalf of Audio Liquor Mag, Audio Liquor Magazine. Gonna start off with Creed 2. This is the second movie in the Creed franchise, which is a spin-off from the Rocky franchise. This time around, you got Adonis Creed, who is the son of Apollo Creed, facing off against Victor Drago, who is the son of Ivan Drago, the guy that killed Apollo Creed in Rocky 4 in a boxing match. So you had the Russian versus the African American. You got Michael B. Jordan returning as Adonis Creed. You got Sylvester Stallone returning as Rocky Balboa. You got Tessa Thompson returning as Adonis Creed girlfriend. You got Felicia Rashad returning as the mother of Adonis Creed. You got Dolph Lundgren returning as his character from Rocky 4, Ivan Drago, who is the father of Victor Drago. And you also got Wood Harris, who is training Adonis Creed this time around. And I find it funny that both of them in this movie together. And Wood Harris, his character was in the first Creed movie, but he has much more screen time and much more of a role in Creed 2. And back in the day, Michael B. Jordan, when he was just a kid, was playing this young teenager named Wallace, and he was hustling for Wood Harrison character in The Wire called Avon Barksdale. So now I find it funny that both of them in this movie. And back then, you could have never told me that Michael B. Jordan was going to be this big movie star. And I have to admit, I was a little leery about Creed 2. I felt it could go real sideways for them going back to the Rocky 4 well with that storyline. Him now fighting the son who his father killed his father in Rocky 4. I felt that could have went wrong, but they did a good job. It's a paint by the numbers boxing film, but it's done very well. It has a little twist on one of the boxing matches that I didn't see coming, which was a pleasant surprise. The boxing scenes are executed very well, so much so that the crowd in the theater that I was in was so into it, like it was an actual boxing match. Like they didn't know what was going to be the outcome. They was that much into it. They was making comments out loud, making noises, but not in a bad way, in a good way. I found that very interesting, and that's when you know the filmmakers did a good job of making the boxing matches seem very real when you got the crowd in the theater reacting to it that way. And this movie is more than just about boxing. It's about family. You know, you have the Adonis Creed, Rocky, father and son relationship. Even though Adonis Creed calls him Unc all through the movie, it feels more like a father and son relationship. I guess Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis Creed looks up to Sylvester Stallone character Rocky Balboa as a father that he never had. And then you also have the relationship between Tessa Thompson and Michael B. Jordan's character. They are in a relationship and they now have a kid. They have a baby. That's not spoiling nothing. That's in the trailers. So now you have that family dynamic going on. And then you also have Ivan and Victor's father and son relationship, and some of the turmoil they go through and some of the drama they go through. And I don't want to spoil that. You got a surprise cast member returning from Rocky 4 that's in this new in this new Creed movie. I'm not going to spoil and say who that is. Will they make a third Creed movie? I just assumed after the success of the first Creed that it would be a trilogy. And Creed 2 is making good money at the box office, so I would say it would be a good guess it would be a third Creed movie, even though the second Creed movie ends so well that you could go on or you could stop it there. And I'm going to rank all 8 films that's in this Rocky / Creed franchise. I'm gonna go Rocky 5 at number 8, Rocky 6 at number 7. Here's where it gets a little tricky. I'm gonna go Creed 2 at number 6, and I'm gonna go Rocky 4 at number 5. And I haven't seen Rocky 4 in a very long time, but I would say Creed 2 is probably a better movie overall than Rocky 4, but Rocky 4, you could sort of say, birthed Creed 2. The storyline of Creed 2 is basically the baby of Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is the catalyst for Creed 2. So that's why I will put it ahead of it. And I'm going to go Rocky 3 at number 4. That's the one where Rocky Balboa was fighting Mr. T's character. And then I'm going to go Creed, the first Creed, at number 3. And the reason I'm going to put it there because it actually resurrected the Rocky franchise. I think after Rocky Balboa, the 6th Rocky movie, everybody thought that franchise was done. And Creed basically gave it more longevity. It actually brought it to introduced the Rocky franchise to a whole new generation. So I'm going to put it at number 3. I'm going to put Rocky 2 at 2. And I'm going to put Rocky 1 at 1. Even though I think Rocky 2 has more repeat value than Rocky 1, I'm still go there with the rankings. I would give Creed 2 a strong B+. It's very entertaining. I suggest you go to the theaters to go see it. Now we're going to move on to Green Book. This film is based off a true story. It's about this working class Italian American who is a bouncer at a club who then becomes the driver of this African American who is a classical musician. He's a genius on the piano, and he drives him through this musical tour that he has down south in the early 60s. I believe this story took place in 1962. You have Viggo Mortensen, who plays Tony the Lip, who is the Italian. And he got the name The Lip, the nickname The Lip, because he likes to talk a lot and he's good at BSing people. Then you have Mahershala Ali, who plays Dr. Don Shirley. That's the African American who's a classical musician. And they have great chemistry together. They play off each other very well. Green Book, the reason why it's called Green Book, there was an actual booklet or pamphlet that helped African Americans navigate through the South. Back then, you couldn't, if you was African American, you couldn't stay at certain hotels that whites stayed at. You couldn't dine at certain restaurants. They had white only hotels. They had black only hotels. You couldn't go to the bathroom where whites went in certain spots. You couldn't drink from the same water fountains. You couldn't even shop at the same stores. So this book was a guide to help African Americans avoid conflict, injury, even death through the South back then. So that's why it's called Green Book, because they used this Green Book to help them navigate the musical tour down south. And Mahershala Ali, he's been putting work. He's been putting in work for the last couple of years. He won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in the movie Moonlight. And I will have to say his performance in Green Book deserves an Oscar nomination. He's that good in this movie. He's also going to be in this sci-fi action film called Alita Battle Angel that's coming out soon. He's also going to do one of the voices for this animated movie called Into the Spider-Verse, which comes out in December next month. He's also going to be the lead in the 3rd season of True Detective, which comes out in 2019 next year. He plays the boyfriend of Roxanne Shante in the Netflix movie Roxanne. He's been in Hidden Figures. He was one of the villains in the 1st season of Luke Cage. He was the best part of the 1st season of Luke Cage, in my opinion. He was in Free State of Jones. He's been in several seasons of House of Cards. That's on Netflix as well. And this film, Green Book, is directed by Peter Farley or Furley. I think he's one half of the Farley brothers. And they're known for their off-the-wall comedies. They've made movies like Dumber and Dumber, Hall Pass, Shallow Hal, the classic There's Something About Murray. So they're known for their real out there comedies. And this movie, Green Book, is very funny and definitely has its comedic moments, but it's not a comedy. It's a good mix of true life drama and laugh. They do a good job of meshing the two together. And the only negative I had about this movie is the Tony the Lip character. He changes too quick. Like in the beginning of the movie, he's racist, and then like he flips on a dime and becomes Dr. Don Shirley's friend. And he seems a little too comfortable driving this African American around. Like you don't see the transformation from this racist guy to now this guy who's understandable and protective. You don't really see the transformation. But I'm nitpicking. That's a small negative in my estimation. This movie is a crowd pleaser. It's a feel-good film. Very entertaining. It's one of those type of flicks you could take the whole family to and really get something out of it. I love the musical scenes. It makes me want to research and find some of Dr. Don Shirley's music, find his old records. I love the piano, how he plays the piano, the different notes and vibes I got from that. The critics, some critics really love this movie, but you have a few critics who are downing this film. Like one critic, she said that she didn't like the movie because of Tony's white savior character. Like she felt it was a white savior. And I find that funny that a white person is criticizing a movie about a white guy being a savior. But I kind of understand it, but at the same time, I think she was off base with that because that's why he hired him. These two characters couldn't be any different. They're very different. Like you have Tony the Lip, he's a fun-loving brute. He knows how to fight, he knows how to handle himself. He loves to eat, loves to talk, like I mentioned before. And then you have Don Shirley, who's very refined, very classy, very educated, highly intelligent. He knows how to speak like 8 or 9 different languages. So they're very different, and I thought that's why he hired Tony's character to help him drive. That's why he went after him, because he needed somebody who knew how to handle themselves. He needed someone to protect his back, to have his back through this tour down south. So I didn't see it as a white savior situation. But anyway, this is a very good movie. I would give it an A. I highly recommend it. I'm done. I'm finished. And there you have it.